Let me ask you a different question that's been bugging me a lot.
Yeah.
I think that the Rawlsian veil of ignorance there's something terribly wrong with it. And I see it as having it's an example of a piece of philosophy that is got a lot of purchase outside of philosophy departments. And I'm worried that it may be deranging us as a society, that this idea that identity should somehow be fungible and we should say, okay, we don't know who we're going to come back as. And in fact, it means something very bizarre to say that we would come back as the other. Is there something wrong with Rawls in which if we predicate too much and we lean on that pillar too heavily, we may do ourselves great damage? It's an intuition.
Yeah. So I think, yes, actually. I think I maybe a little bit, I'm somewhat in agreement with you. Let me tell you how I would put this problem to myself. The Rawlsian move is a species of a genus of stepping back moves, right? It's like, look, there are these facts about you, but you could imagine that they were not the case. Just abstract them away and now make your decision.
Okay.
But why assume you can do that? That is, why assume you have that kind of metacognition available to you, right? And it's like, look at Rawls and look at all the people that Rawls influenced and the Rawlsian tradition. Like there's a very characteristic set of, say, political and social and economic views that go along with those people. And like, did they abstract from those sufficiently in producing the theory? Like maybe not, right? And so I think that there is, at the very least, there's that assumption there, that it is possible. And it may be possible, just maybe that you can't do it so easily. Maybe that you can't do it merely by entertaining like a thought experiment or something like that. It may be possible to really learn to abstract away certain parts of your identity through a lot of work, right? Through a lot of cognitive work and through like experience and stuff that you do. But the idea that you could do it just by entertaining a counterfactual, I think is not right. I'm not sure exactly what the implications are of that. I mean, that is, it seems to me that this problem is like, it's an instance of something more general that I've criticized, but.
Have you ever seen John Belushi and Joe Cocker singing Feeling All Right on Saturday Night Live?
No.
It's one of the great moments in television history.
I will listen to it later.
John Belushi becomes Joe Cocker. And Joe Cocker is so idiosyncratic that to have Joe Cocker watching himself acted by John Belushi that collaborate on the song is disturbing and funny and beautiful, because Belushi is actually amazing as Joe Cocker, as a singer. In that moment, I came to believe that John Belushi could run a version of Joe Cocker, at least to first, second, and third order in emulation.
Right. But
to
that
your
was
point.
Like talent, right?
Well, this is the thing, which is I have people that I could come back as, and I have people that I couldn't come back as, to varying orders of approximation. And so that aspect of non-fungible identity, to me, dooms the entire Rawlsian project in a way that I can't explain to people who are under its spell.
I guess so maybe what I'm willing to agree to is slightly more limited. That is, I'm willing to agree with you that the idea that one can subtract away the commitments and concerns of identity, and in effect, right, what we're really arguing about is sort of Rawls's the sort of the conceit that we can separate away comprehensive doctrines, right? Oh, imagine if I didn't believe in God or something. And like, but that might be really important to me that I believe in God. It is important to me, right? So, and so I'm like, so I sort of agree that the sort of conceit that identity is so thin and trivial that you can separate it away and then do your reasoning, that's a real problem. But the thing I don't agree with is that there is some particular barrier of identity, namely, like, say, the set of people who you couldn't be born as,
right?
Where you couldn't, over time, spend enough time with those people and talk to them to the point where at the end of that process, you're like, I could be born as them.
Right.
it's like now you can't imagine it. We have the diachronic again for our drinking game.
Yes.
But like, and so the real, for me, the real objection like is that there is a difference between what I can do merely through through a mental operation that I engage in alone, and what I can do by learning from people. And I think
I work with somebody who I can't run very well in emulation. I do a really basic Peter Thiel impression, but I can only go for about 20 or 30 seconds. And then it becomes very clear that it's just mannerisms because the guy's operating system is wildly idiosyncratic. There's one guy who can do a better job of it, named Ajay Royan, who probably get to second order. And I'm kind of just blown away by it because Peter's just too hard to model. I don't think that that's a convergent process in general, even when you spend a lot of time with somebody. Let me switch gears. Yeah, you can have the last word on that one if you want. I don't mean to cut you off. There are two topics I want to get to after this.
Can I say a quick thing about that?
Yeah.
I think that I want to distinguish the question of whether you could model them from whether you could get yourself into a position where you could imagine being born as them, I guess.
Okay.
And so, but yeah.
Assuming that's okay, good.